Hello, everyone. My name is Grant. I am a field manager here with the Center for Digital Engagement.
And I am Morgan. I am a field manager for the Digital Summer Clinic and your co host. Now, before we begin, if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the chat and we will get onto that as soon as possible.
Awesome. So today we are joined with none other than Shadi Mir. Shadi is the founder and CEO of Pedestrian and a former clinic company with us that the clinic has worked with. So welcome back, Shadi.
Thank you. It's great to join you guys.
So we'll get right into it. So Shadi, give us a quick introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a little history on what you've done that's led you to this point.
Yeah, great. My background is really engineering. I had a mechanical engineering background with a little bit of electromechanical and electrical experience, and then I got my master's in engineering and then an MBA from the University of Michigan. My practical experience or technical experience has been really with automotive, Nissan, Ford, and then I led innovation, which we worked kind of on futuring car technologies for the next 5 years, which kind of led a little bit to working with autonomous and robotics. And in 2017, I decided to have a startup and focus really on autonomous delivery. And this is the domain that we're in.
Great.
Awesome. And next question is, how do you prioritize which areas of robotics to focus on for research and development?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for robotics, which is really a very tough area to develop, you have to have a very clear vision. So we usually have a roadmap for the next 3 years, and we go through phases. But you, as a startup, you also have to be nimble and kind of pivot based on what the market and the customer is telling you. So a great example, we used to focus quite a bit on having full autonomy, but that aspect of it required not only a big investment, but the user experience has been kind of a little bit tough to accomplish. So we started prioritizing, for instance, teleoperation, which means supervising the robot by a human and having the human in the loop and focusing on these technologies. So we could equip the teleoperator who's monitoring the robot from afar with VR technologies, technologies that almost feels like you're inside the robot. So sometimes you have to advance other phases before the ones that you were planning originally. But again, it's all based on what the customer, the user experience, as well as the challenges from a technical and a funding point of view.
So Shadi, I have another question for you. So what is one of the biggest challenges that you faced as CEO of a robotics company? And could you kind of give us a little bit of how you solved that problem?
Yeah, I mean, a robotic company, any technology company, you're really not just a typical CEO in the typical sense. A typical CEO, a large corporation, or even even a medium or sometimes even a startup, you're looking at financial aspect, you're looking at strategy for the next 5 years. But with a robotic company, you really have to be a technical CEO, and you have to be really deep into the technical development as well. So you have to really switch hats quite a bit. So the biggest challenge I think still for robotics is adoption. So not only you're focusing on the technical aspect, you're focusing on the financial viability, return on investment, and how do you get your customers to adopt it? That's why we've been kind of really focusing in the last year on taking robots, and instead of selling robots as a product like they sell car, to actually shift to robot as a service, where you hire the robot as an employee and you get kind of a similar rate as you would hiring somebody to do the same kind of job, but with a different rate. That allows us to really have people who don't have the big capacity, the big funding to adopt robots, to be able to actually not only try robots, but really have a very good return on investment.
I see.
I see. Your next question is, what inspired you to pursue the development of delivery robots, and how do you see the market for this technology evolving?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's a personal reason as well as kind of a business reason. So when we started, I really, even though I love cars, I felt cars and even some of the technologies that we were kind of working on is that they take a lot of time commuting back and forth. So my personal use, I wanted time back to myself, and we thought as we were working with autonomous technology, this is a great solution. It's almost like cloning yourself. You got delivery, you don't have to commute if we have this autonomous technology really propagate through our life, so we could do the things that we want to do and even be productive. So that's kind of the personal reason. It was something that I really wanted to work on. The business aspect of it, as we were kind of working with autonomous technology, personally, I start seeing that the opportunity or the low-hanging fruit for this technology would be in delivery. It's less risk than taking a human inside a car and having an autonomous vehicle. And based on the projection that I saw, and as we work with the technology, I thought the outlook was going to be longer, and certainly that's proved right. That people were hyping, I think, autonomous cars that was going to be in the next 3 years. Obviously, right now we're really 5 to 10 years away from that. So I think the autonomous delivery is able to of goods and services instead of people would be able to help our society quite a bit before autonomous technology for moving people matures fully.
So you spoke a little bit about challenges in the technical development of things, but I've seen that Move and was coming into fruition, and the website's been updated and everything. So as of right now, what are some of the challenges that Pedestrian is facing?
Yeah, believe it or not, I mean, obviously you always have the technical challenges, and you have the funding challenges because robotics, as I said, is kind of a challenging field. It's a great return on investment from the point of investors, but the arc of returning that investment is a little bit longer. So that's definitely a challenge. But the challenge that we weren't expecting is a lot of the red tape or the things that you don't expect to deal with. So, for instance, as we're trying to integrate into the hospital, cybersecurity becomes an issue, even though we're kind of a closed system. But as hospitals deal with a lot of cyber attack, they become very conscious, and then that takes us a long time to get approved and go through the whole, architecture and approval of how to integrate into their system. So things that you really don't expect to be kind of a challenge, it's not even on our roadmap to be kind of an issue, becomes an issue. So that's definitely a challenge. Adoption is also a real issue for us because we're focusing on delivery inside hospital systems. The hospitals in general are very challenged from a financial point of view. A lot of them don't even break even. So getting them to integrate a new technology where they're fighting fires every day and trying to get into profitability is also a challenge, even though what we're offering really give them a lot of savings, even within the first 6 months. So that's definitely a big challenge for any robotic company. And some robotic companies really pivot and try to see where they can really make money. But I mean, even though overall robotics is really one of the best return on investment if you think about the long term, the next 5 to 10 years, at least in that kind of a technology field.
Totally agree. So we have a couple user questions here. So Morgan, if you'd like to start off with our first one.
With pleasure. So our first question is from Shelby Kyle. She asked, "How have things changed for you since a mobile robot marketing guide?"
Yeah, I actually I didn't understand that. Wait, could you repeat
Sorry.
that?
Yeah. How have things changed for you since a mobile robot marketing guide?
I didn't understand. What does that mean? Mobile marketing guide?
The panel that we did over at the Digital Summer Clinic.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, my mind went to kind of a
Oh, you're
technical aspect. I'm thinking maybe
you're
I
fine.
missed that. Yeah, yep. Yeah, honestly, that really has improved quite a bit for us. What you guys did, the grant, has been, we've been getting great feedback because before we really were in stealth mode, and then we didn't put as much thought into the website or the marketing aspect of it because again we were kind of doing business to business kind of sales and doing kind of demos, But when we had the website and we had, showed the breadth of what we did and our history, showing our background and how much we were doing for indoor as well as outdoor, not only prototypes, but actually, showing kind of the whole story and our capability, that gave us a lot of credibility in things that I didn't really expect. So now when we talk to customers and then we direct them to the website, it's a much easier kind of sales pitch because you have all of this condensed and they can, research it, understand about us at their leisure in a very really nice, concise way. So I'd say, it really improved our marketing quite a bit.
It's good to hear. So we have another question. So I guess we'll go on to the next question because the one that was kind of already answered here. So Bud asks, what's his take on the latest artificial intelligence headlines? Is AI sentient? And what potential AI does you see coming to fruition?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's always get asked. I have a little bit of a different take on it. I mean, unfortunately, it's always in the public conscious, the robot as almost like a villain. You watch videos, or even the first, I think Asimov, Caves of Steel, I think one of the first sci-fi fiction that kind of framed it in that way. But the reality is, we're really far away from that. I mean, if you look at really the cutting edge of the underlying technology that's used in robotics or autonomous cars, it's really hitting a wall. I would advise anybody to kind of look at one of the great scientists from Canada, Joshua Bengio. And he kind of talks about, why the underlying algorithms is really being challenged from the point of view. Let's say you have an autonomous car, an autonomous robot. You can only put them in a very familiar situation, but take that car and put it in a city that's never operated in, and it can't do anything. And the main challenge really has been the underlying algorithms, because technically we cannot give a robot or an AI an imagination, even a 3-year-old imagination. A 3-year-old can really imagine things. You could put them in even unfamiliar situation and they can connect the dots and go to the next stage. But really, we haven't been able to do that because of these underlying algorithm, and people are working on it, but we're still far away. And the problem with thinking that AI sentient is going to take over and it's a kind of a dangerous thing, really forego all our previous history where we've always been able to mold technology to our needs. If you look at cars, if you look at any other technology that has been throughout human history, and at the same time, it's kind of that kind of question or kind of public worry about it is really delaying the advancement in robotics where we absolutely need it. If you look at Michigan, forget about the U.S. We have a huge challenge overall in the U.S. We have a 700,000 shortages in nursing. We have about over 1 million in caregivers for our senior citizens that we have no way of fulfilling unless we look at technology. So, we'll be lucky in the next 10 years we even get close from robotics to kind of solving that issue to even worry about a sentient AI or things of that nature. So I'm a little bit biased. I think it's a lot of really misconception, even though people say that, people I highly respect like Elon Musk and others, but if we're on the front line of developing this technology and interacting with customers and seeing the needs that we see, really we shouldn't be worrying about that right now. The opposite, actually, we should be pushing that technology as much as we can.
Great. And I guess we'll have one more question here. So this is also from Bud, and this is an open-ended question. But what are your plans going forward?
Yeah, so we're really focused on the handful of customers that we have, and what we're trying to do is really have a bespoke solutions for instance, for the hospital that we work with, looking at not only the robotics and the delivery, but even things that deal with their logistics, some of the specific problems that they have. So our approach has been really not just focus on robotics, but really what is robotics solving inside that use case that they want to use. So we're really laser focused really on this. I mean, for instance, we were looking at a robotic arm to do kind of some of the sorting before we put it in the robot, and we found out it's it's an overkill, and we could do it with a simpler mechanism. So those are the things that we're really kind of taken over most of our time, and we're really focused on. But we're really very excited, looking forward to people really start seeing these robots, even though we don't really talk about it as much. But once you kind of see it in the hospital and see the kind of value that it's bringing, I think that's really the exciting things that we're kind of looking forward for everybody to kind of find out about.
Great. Well, I think that's a good place for us to stop. So thank you again. So before we head out, I'd like to thank everyone again for watching our digital live today. Shadi, thank you for being here with us. It was great having you on, talking about yourself and pedestrian. We here at the clinic hope to work with you again in the future. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Digital Summer Clinic, so you don't miss any new updates. Also, our applications for the Digital Summer Clinic are now open, so make sure to get on applying and start investing in your future. It will be an amazing experience filled with connections and bettering your real-world knowledge in the modern workplace. To everybody else watching, we'll be joined by another special guest next week, Jamie Ferguson. Jamie is an associate digital marketing manager at Domino's, and she'll be on next Thursday at 6 p.m. You won't want to miss it, and any of our other amazing guests. Thank you all for joining us today, and we will see you all here next week.